Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our webinar over this lunchtime hour. We still have some attendees who are logging on to the webinar, so we will give everyone just a few more seconds to get on, and then we are going to get started. Okay, great. Thanks again, everyone. Welcome to our Summer Hunger Lunch and Learn, Combating Summer Hunger. We're excited to introduce to you Summer EBT and the new SUN programs to you and share everything that you need to know about how to combat summer hunger this year. My name is Sarah Hudasek. I am the Coalition Manager of Advocates for Ohio's Future. We are a nonprofit, nonpartisan coalition of health and human services, policy, advocacy, and provider organizations who really convene to advocate for budget and policy solutions so that all Ohioans can live healthy lives. And today we are getting to focus on a really exciting new program that is Summer EBT. This is a summer food assistance program to help fill the summer hunger gap when students are out of school and not receiving school meals over summer break. This is the first new permanent federal assistance program in almost 50 years, so it's a big cause for celebration. And we are so lucky to have Brigette Hires and Laura Harper from the state of Ohio with us here today to be able to tell us everything that we need to know about the implementation of this program. We have Michelle Brown from Children's Hunger Alliance, Joree Novotny and Lane-Gavin with the Ohio Association of Foodbanks, and Katherine Ungar with Children's Defense Fund Ohio. So a great lineup of panelists, and I am excited to kick it off by sending it over to Brigette Hires with the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce to tell us everything that we need to know about Summer EBT from the Department of Education and Workforce's perspective. So take it away, Brigette.
Great. Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate that. Hello, everyone. I'm so pleased to be with you here today. It's an amazing opportunity for us to participate in standing up a brand new child nutrition program. It's been quite a long time since new child nutrition program has been stood up on the federal level. And Ohio, we are just so pleased and proud to participate this year. So we're going to talk about student eligibility for Summer EBT now. Before we do so, I figure that I will give you a few Summer EBT facts. We are anticipating 837,000 Ohio children will receive this benefit. Summer EBT, or Electronic Benefits Transfer, is also known as SunBucks. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, who is funding this program, has started a new campaign about all of the summer meal programs, and they're doing it under the SUN umbrella. So Summer EBT is known as SunBucks. That's the one piece of the summer puzzle. And the other pieces are SUN Meals to Go, which is our new rural non-congregate summer meal option. And we have our regular SUN meals, which is our congregate meal option. And the awesome part about it is these three programs really work in a tandem to one another to help to decrease any issues with students being able to obtain meals during the summertime. So if a household receives the Summer EBT or SunBucks, they can still participate in summer meal options. They actually are meant to go together so that we can work to combat hunger. This benefit is going to be a one-time $120 amount. Now, that might be different from other states that are participating in Summer EBT. Some of the other states have decided that they're going to do multiple distributions of $40 a month. And so in Ohio, we decided that it was much easier on the households to distribute the one-time $120. So that's how we came up with that amount of money. $40 per month has been authorized for the months of June, July, and August. So we are doing a one-time $120 benefit. The first round of funding will be received by July 31st by the households, and our summer operational period is going to run through August 16th. So what that means is that households can, if they find that that qualify during the summertime, will have the opportunity to apply for benefits up to August 16th. August 16th is kind of what we've designated the last day of summer, if you will, in Ohio. So any households that maybe don't qualify for free or reduced meals right now, but find themselves qualifying for free or reduced meals in the summertime will have some option to still get summer EBT. And the benefit of $120 is actually even going to be for those households that if they qualify later in the summertime and receive it at the end of the summer, they still will receive $120 per eligible child. Okay, so who qualifies? Let's get into a little bit of information about the details. So our first tier, if you will, is our streamlined certified students. These are children that will receive the benefit with no further application or action necessary on the household's part. So Ohio Department of Job and Family Services will share all of their children between the ages of 6 through 18 that have participated in SNAP or Ohio Works First from the time frame of July 1st, 2023 through that summer operational period of August 16th of 2024. Even if the household is no longer on SNAP benefits, if they were anytime in that time frame, the child still will be streamlined certified for the summer EBT benefit. So we're going to start off with that data source. And then the Ohio Department of Medicaid will share all of their students between ages 6 and 18 that participate in Medicaid. Now, the tricky part about describing the Medicaid is it's not all children on Medicaid. It actually is children on Medicaid that the household is within the income parameters of the free or reduced price meal program, which in a couple of slides, we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like. So it's a little trickier to describe that to households and kind of make clear in terms of which children that participate in Medicaid will qualify for the summer EBT benefit. But it's the same time frame, that July 1st, 2023 through August 16th of 2024. So we have those two data sources. And then all of our schools that participate in the National School Lunch Program, they also will share all of their children that have been certified for free or reduced price meals in school year 23-24. And that can be of any age. So if the school has preschool that is being serviced by the National School Lunch Program and School Breakfast Program, all of those children can also receive summer EBT, even if they're not 6 years old. So preschool, kindergarten, all of our graduating seniors, even if they're over 18 years old, all will be able to get summer EBT benefit as long as they've been certified for free or reduced price meals sometime in that school year. The age part does not apply. So that I know that's been a little tricky too, to kind of visualize what that looks like. Now, one of our biggest changes from the pandemic EBT program, the PEBT program, to the summer EBT program is that community eligibility provision and provision to schools that are not in a base year cannot submit their full student enrollment. There's very specific requirements under summer EBT that each child receiving summer EBT has to have a current year certification for free or reduced price meals, or be a SNAP, OWF, or Medicaid meeting the income parameters. So we'll talk a little bit further about that here in a couple of slides. So I thought that maybe a diagram would be a really good idea right about now, just so that you can kind of see what the different data pieces are that's going to feed in to the streamlined certification. And again, this is the children that absolutely do not have to do anything further. They don't have to fill out the application. They don't have to do any action steps. They will automatically receive the summer EBT. So that's the children that during the time frame we had talked about, July 1 of 2023 to August 16 of 2024. if they had been on SNAP, OWF, or Medicaid, meeting the income requirement, and thus the 6 through 18 years old. And then the free or reduced price meals, if they've been certified for free or reduced price meals, and that can be of any age. All of those will feed in, and the children will receive the benefit automatically. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about what the school meal program household application looks like. Or just in terms of who is eligible if they were to apply using a school meal program household application. So households on that application, they can report SNAP or OWF case numbers, and then that would automatically qualify for free or reduced price meals. They also can report homeless, migrant, or runaway status. And if a household were to report that on an application, those then statuses are verified by a school coordinator. School districts have to have a homeless liaison as an example. So all that is verified through the school coordinator. Households may also report children as foster. In that case, they are a household of one on the application, or they can report income, which the max poverty level is 185% of federal poverty line. So any of those contributing factors would apply and approve as child for free or reduced price meals. And that's basically the parameters that are going to be used for the statewide Summer EBT application as well. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about that student eligibility data that will be shared by schools. So schools will report their school year 2023-2024 free or reduced price meal certified students. And this can be through that application process. They can also be through the direct certification process, which we at the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce just launched a new software this past school year for 2023-2024, which allowed our school districts to also include Medicaid as factors for direct certification. So all of those children that have been directly certified and extended eligibility through direct certification can be submitted for Summer EBT, along with, like I had mentioned, the children approved through the free or reduced price meal application, any Head Start, migrant, homeless, runaway, and foster students can also be submitted for Summer EBT. That's part of that streamlined certification process. We are highly, highly encouraging our schools and districts that are on the National School Lunch Program to inform their households of the opportunity for Summer EBT this summer, and that the free and reduced price meal application process is completely still open and accepting applications, so that schools can make those determinations and include those children for Summer EBT benefits. So schools can offer that application through August 16th. There is the changeover in school year that happens during that time. So any children who apply using the school's free and reduced price meal application through June 30th of 2024 will get Summer EBT benefits for this summer and be approved for free or reduced price meals for school year 23-24. Starting July 1st, that's the new application period for the new school year of 24-25. So anybody who submits an application after July 1st will be approved for free or reduced price meals for school year 24-25 and Summer EBT for both Summer 2024 and Summer 2025. So I know that's a lot that I just threw at you right there. But the bottom line is that we are highly encouraging our schools to remind households that if they collect free and reduced price meal applications, to make sure they're very clear that households can still apply, even though we are towards the end of the school year now. Okay, so kind of to reiterate, the data that's going to be shared by our schools will be all free and reduced price meal certified students that are enrolled in a national school lunch program. Now, a little bit different from PEBT, that the rules for summer EBT allow our schools and districts to submit students who may not be enrolled anymore. So if a student was approved for free or reduced price meals, let's say in October of 2023, and then withdrew in December of 2023, the school can still submit that student for summer EBT as long as if they got any forwarding address or information or know that the student has since been enrolled in a school out of state. So if the school doesn't have any information to indicate that, then we are encouraging them to go ahead and submit that student information for summer EBT. Another piece that has been a little bit confusing is the meal eligibility timeframe. And meal eligibility is year-long. So as soon as a child has been certified for free or reduced price meals in a school year, they remain certified for free or reduced price meals all the way through the school year, even if their situation changes. And I think one of the biggest questions that we get is children that are homeless. So if a student is homeless at the beginning of the school year and certified for free meals as such, they will still be certified for free meals throughout the school year, the 2023-2024 school year, and can get summer EBT benefits, even if the school has updated information that the household has now established a fixed and permanent residence. They can still provide it. So one of the other things is that schools have to submit students that have access to the National School Lunch Program or School Breakfast Program. So if a school themselves is fully virtual or online, or has fully virtual or online students that have no access to the National School Lunch Program, those students will not be submitted for summer EBT in of itself. But remembering back to our chart that talked about the fact that Ohio Department of Job and Family Services is going to share all of their SNAP and OWF certified students, and Medicaid is going to share all of their students that meet the income criteria. Virtual and online students and homeschooled students could still get summer EBT through those pathways. Okay, so let's revisit community eligibility provision and provision 2 schools. This is, again, one of the biggest changes between PEBT and summer EBT. So in PEBT, the schools that met that criteria could submit their whole enrollment. This is not the case in summer EBT. The program requirements are very specific that each child has to have a current year free or reduced price meal certification. And that's not exactly how it works for CEP and Provision 2 schools. Generally speaking, they rely on some other poverty data indicators in the first year that they elect to be on those programs, and then they don't do certifications. That's kind of one of the beauties of the program, is that it decreases administrative burden for schools. Well, then it becomes a little tricky for summer EBT benefits with that new requirement. So households with children that attend CEP and Provision 2 schools that are not directly certified or extended direct certification benefits or otherwise categorically eligible will have access to a statewide summer EBT application. So that's the mechanism that we're going to have, so that those households can still apply for summer EBT benefits. I was so super hoping that I was going to be able to make a big announcement that the application was open and available, but it is going to be available very, 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 very soon. The webpage it's going to be available on is sebt.ohio.gov. And as any great new summer programs, some of our details have kind of morphed and changed as we've been working on this program over the past 4 to 6 months. So originally we thought that the webpage was going to be sebt.education.ohio.gov. But we've kind of come to the conclusion that sebt.ohio.gov is a more universal statewide web domain. if a person goes to the sebt.education.ohio.gov, if you had that bookmarked, it should redirect to this page. But this is going to be the actual page. And when it is up and available, the application will be there. We will have some guidance materials and outreach materials on that page. And this is going to be the application that is going to be used primarily by CEP and Provision 2 households that were not categorically eligible. That really is the only group of households that this application is really meant for. It's not to say that there might be slight situations that for whatever reason, maybe a household doesn't want free or reduced price meals in their NSLP school, but would want summer EBT. But really, we want the households that are going to a national school lunch program school that do the traditional meal applications. We would love for them to apply for the free or reduced price meal benefits and get summer EBT and go through that mechanism. Now, very specific to summer EBT, that the rules do say that fully virtual students and homeschool students cannot use the application to apply. But again, remembering they will get the benefit if they are SNAP or OWF or Medicaid and meet the income criteria. And this application is going to be available up to August 16th. So if a household applies through August 16th, then we'll have benefits distribution sometime in September is our plan, the very latest by October. Okay. So how can all of you help to spread the word and to the households, especially once we get our webpage up and running? Is, again, we really want to make sure that we get the word out that if children are already Streamline certified, if they are already approved for free or reduced price meals, if they are already or have been on SNAP, OWF, or Medicaid within those Medicaid within the income parameter, they do not have to apply. What we are worried about is that households will get worried and apply just to make sure, and then that will delay processing applications for households that really needed to use the application for the benefit. So as much as possible as we can make people feel confident that if they meet those criteria, they're going to get this benefit and it's going to be automatic, that will be wonderful. It will be a wonderful help. We are also really reminding our schools that through multiple channels to remind their households to apply for free or reduced meal benefits, because that then approves them for summer EBT in that Streamline certified mechanism. And then we're also encouraging households, or you can help encourage households to update their addresses with their benefits provider. So if they feel like their primarily benefit is going to be through SNAP or OWF, they should make sure that their address is updated with Ohio Department of Job and Family Services or Office of Medicaid if it's going to be through Medicaid, or their school if it's going to be through an income eligibility application that they had filed. Schools are going to start sharing their data here towards the end of May through June, actually June 13th for the first wave. So households, like, now is the time for households to really start updating their addresses.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Brigette. We do have, while you're talking about pulling that data over, there is a quick question in the Q&A about if that data pull will happen multiple times and how often and what schedule that will happen.
Yes, so it will happen multiple times. The plan right now is to do a data poll in June at the very least, and then one towards the end of the summer. And then the discussion is if there is an opportunity to do it throughout the summer as well. But it will definitely happen in those two time frames.
Great. Thank you so much. Next up, to present is Laura Harper with the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services. Laura, take it away.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Good afternoon, everybody. As Sarah mentioned, I'm Laura Harper. I'm the Assistant Deputy Director for the Office of Family Assistance here at the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services. And I'm going to discuss the Summer EBT benefit issuance and utilization, and then some topics around that. So first, we will begin with the summer S-EBT benefit issuance. As Brigette mentioned at the beginning, it is a one-time issuance for the summer and the amount of $120. And also, as Brigette explained, that's $40 for each summer month, and we are just providing it in one issuance to children. The benefits will begin being processed in mid-June. And as Brigette mentioned, with the estimation that all benefits will be received by the children by the end of July for those children who are known in June. Just a side note that not all issuances will occur at the same time, and this leads to our next point about how they will be issued. So households who currently receive SNAP benefits, their summer EBT benefits for each eligible child in the house will be issued on the family's existing Ohio Direction card. So they will not be receiving a new summer EBT card. They will continue using the existing card that the family has. And what will happen is the system will prioritize the summer EBT benefits to ensure that those are used first. So the summer EBT funding will be used before any SNAP benefits to ensure that the benefit amount is used in the appropriate amount of time. Households that do not currently receive SNAP benefits, they will receive a new summer EBT card for each child in the mail. And so if a family has 2 children who are eligible and approved for summer EBT, they will receive 2 cards with the children's name on them. And because these are being mailed, this is what brings us back to the point of not all issuances will occur at the same time, because depending on the processing, one child's card may be received at a different time than another child's card. So just wanted to make sure that that was noted, that the cards may be received at different times. So the new card for the households that are not currently receiving SNAP benefits, as I mentioned, will be mailed. And one card will be mailed for each child. The card will be mailed in a plain white envelope, and there will be information about the program included in that envelope with the card. Some information that will be included will be how to create or change your 4-digit PIN, which, as you can see on this slide, a 4-digit PIN is required to be created when activating the card. And this is a self-created PIN. So you choose the 4-digit PIN that you would like to use for each card that is issued to your household. Some additional information that's included is how to change that PIN, how many days you have to use the benefits, as well as really pointing out to keep that summer EBT card to use for future summers. New cards will not be mailed each summer, so we are trying to message it very clearly that the summer EBT card you are issued, you are to keep it for additional summers. And then on the screen, this is a template for what the summer EBT card will look like. So as you can see, it will be a white card. It will clearly say summer EBT with the card number and the child's name on it on the front. And then on the back, there is some additional information, including that customer service telephone number that is on there. This phone number can be used when if you have questions about checking your balance, that is available on the card for summer EBT, or if you need to replace your card, you can simply call that customer service number, which looks really tiny on the screen, but it's in the bottom left corner in that box. So that will that phone number will direct you to our vendor, who will be able to assist you with questions such as replacing your card or checking your balance. So Benefit expiration. The summer EBT benefits will expire 122 days after they have been issued. This is different from current SNAP benefits. For those families who are currently receiving SNAP benefits, the expiration is based on the last transaction date. For summer EBT, it is based on the date of the benefits being issued and is then 122 days. When you receive the card in the mail in that plain white envelope, some additional information, as I said, will be in there, including it will clearly state that the benefit will expire 122 days after being issued. So once you have your card and you're going to use it, wanted to let you know that the Summer EBT card will be accepted as the same retailers in Ohio as the Ohio Direction card. Also, the Summer EBT card may be used to purchase fruit, vegetables, meat, dairy, seafood, non-alcoholic beverages, canned foods, and other cold grocery items at the major retailers or online. We highly recommend using the lock and unlock feature for the Summer EBT card that is similar to the current SNAP EBT card, the Ohio Direction card. This feature will help prevent any possible fraud that may occur. So we highly encourage you reading through the information once you receive the card and getting more information on that lock unlock feature. Wanted to let you know that if for some reason the summer EBT benefits are lost due to an AG misfortune, so say there's a power outage and you lose some food that was in your refrigerator due to that power outage, that those benefits can be replaced. You would simply call the customer service line that will be included in your envelope with the card, and information will be provided regarding that. Any additional information that you may need to find out regarding using the summer EBT benefits, they can be found on the JFS 07501 form, which is the Program Enrollment and Benefit Information form. And this goes into more detail regarding where to utilize your card, also what purchases can be made utilizing the summer EBT card. And then I also encourage to utilize the Summer EBT webpage, as Brigette mentioned before. That's the sebt.ohio.gov, as there will be a plethora of information available on that website as well.
Thank you so much, Laura. I see some questions in the chat that we will definitely get to at the end of our webinar. I'm excited that there are also some questions asking about produce perks and other summer food programs. And those are great questions because Michelle Brown is here to answer them for us. So I will turn it over to Michelle. Take it away.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Thank you, Brigette and Laura, and our other panelists today. Michelle Moskowitz-Brown, the CEO at Children's Hunger Alliance. And don't worry, there's going to be a one-pager. I'm really grateful for all of the information about Summer EBT. I'm going to talk a little bit about Children's Hunger Alliance and then some of our offerings, as well as other statewide resources. So just briefly, if you're not familiar with us, we were founded in 1970. We're a statewide organization and we're focused on food access, education, and advocacy. You may know us for the USDA sponsorship of CACFP, which in the summer we also offer the Summer Food Service Program. So we're going to be talking about that. We offer school breakfast and summer program expansion work with No Get Hungry. And then we also want to make sure kids have food every day of the week all year. So we have some weekend meals that we do as well as holidays. And as we know, kids are only in school about 180 days of the year. So making sure that those gaps are filled. And as I mentioned, we also provide nutrition education and physical activity programming. So jumping into summer, we are a USDA Summer Food Sponsorship Service Program provider, one of many that are working with ODE. But what we do is essentially sponsor across the state, so we can serve the whole state of Ohio. We last year had about 120 locations. This year we're projecting to have closer to 200, including some of the work that we'll provide outside of the USDA program that I'll talk about. And what we do there is really fill gaps where other sponsors and school districts can't operate or aren't able to provide enough food for their kids. We provide additional support. And as I mentioned, we also partner with No Kid Hungry so that schools can grow their breakfast programs and their summer programs. So outside of the USDA programs, we use some of our TANF support, our private funding, and this year our ARPA funding to provide shelf-stable meals. So that's, following the USDA meal pattern where students can take home meals for many days. During the school year, it's just a weekend pack. But in the summer, it's also supplementing the food service programs and also serving places where folks can't apply under the non-congregate, rural non-congregate rules. So we provide that food at no cost to our partners. Wanted to share just some stats here, again, from our friends at No Kid Hungry. We all know that during the pandemic, because of the waivers, we increased our meal service, significantly, and then of course dropped again here when the waivers were discontinued. But I did want to share. So on the left, you have the total summer meals, which has shown a decrease over the past year from 95 million to 82 million. That's national. And then over on the right, the stats for Ohio is that good news is that we increased our meal support by 400,000 meals over the last year. So we're not entirely sure the reasons for that. Some of it's going to be attributed to the rural non-congregate rules, but my hope and goal for all of us here today is that we become food advocates and help further increase students' access to meals over the summer. So we're moving in the right direction. Just wanted to share that good news for the state of Ohio. And hopefully with what we're going to learn today, you're going to be able to help us make sure every kid is connected to meals this summer. So what's the other steps? That we have the summer sponsorship, and then I wanted to spend a little bit of time. We talked about Summer EBT, but I'll talk about these 3 additional programs. So SNAP overall, I'll talk a little bit about that, and online access, Produce Perks Midwest, and then some produce bags and mobile markets that CHA is standing up this summer. So many of you know as well that through the course of the pandemic, there was some of this was in motion, but folks who received SNAP weren't able, like many of us, to just, order their groceries online and then pick it up. They had to kind of go into the store and, process their SNAP cards, and that made it a lot less safe, especially during the pandemic. The good news is, we started with the big box stores getting approved for SNAP online, like your Walmarts and Kroger. And now we also have a lot of community organizations, Stark Fresh, Local Matters, who accept SNAP online, which makes it really convenient for SNAP customers. And most of the time, you're not going to get your delivery covered, but I can say I know Local Matters within the Columbus, 270 area delivers for free. So this is something that we want to make sure families know, if they're not already utilizing it, that they can order online and oftentimes get food delivered. And then we're going to pair that. Thank you to all of our Produce Perks Midwest friends out there and for asking the questions. So the Summer EBT dollars are eligible for the Produce Perks Midwest match. And what this is a dollar for dollar match. So every dollar you spend, whatever you spend it on in terms of SNAP eligible items is eligible for a $25 match per visit. So you could technically double your dollars. I'm not sure how much Produce Perks has in the budget, but they're going to make this happen. And really what this does is help, increase fruit and vegetable consumption, particularly because we know it can be expensive, and we want to make sure that families have that access. So there's a obviously wide network of farmers markets that participate, but there are also some retailers, and again, some of that delivery options for you. And so I have the website here, but there is going to be a one-pager, like I said, with the 4 facts for food that you're all going to be knowledgeable about by the time we finish today's webinar. And then in addition to the shelf-stable meals, Children's Hunger Alliance is providing produce bags that, you see in the picture here. It's about a 3-pound bag with 6 or so items of handheld fruits, oranges, apples, pears that are durable and kind of match the size of what a kid could easily carry or put in their book bag to take home. So they've got some snacks during the week and fresh food. And we'll also be standing up some farmers markets. Some of the folks who are working with the Ohio Association of Foodbanks will be doing some of those markets this summer, and also working in rural communities. So there's a lot of support out there that people can access throughout the course of the summer. So before if you have any questions, I would love to answer them. And I just wanted to kind of recap to say there's really 4 facts that you should be thinking about for summer food access. And again, this is going to be in a 1-pager, but obviously summer EBT is a major improvement for our food access this summer. You've got the matching produce perks program that can help enhance those SNAP dollars. You've got summer meal sites. I kind of breezed through that a little bit, but there's a searchable database for all of these on ODE's website as well as at CHA. And then there's local providers, including some of your local pantries, farmers markets, retailers, sometimes with delivery. So basically those 4 items, and you're going to get a flyer as a follow-up to this webinar. And you're also going to get a QR code following shortly once the site is up. The EBT site is up. It'll have all these resources in one place. So again, thank you so much, and please connect with us. If you need flyer copies, you can also email us. Just connect with us through our website, and we can provide those as well. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Michelle. That is such a great overview, and keep all of the questions coming, everyone. Anything that we don't get a chance to answer in the Q&A box, we will answer at the end. And next up to talk about how to conduct outreach on this exciting new program is Katherine Ungar.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, AOF, and for hosting this webinar. A lot of exciting information here, and I'm really excited to see this is the first permanent benefit program that we've seen in a long time around child nutrition. So while the policy is great, we need to make sure that those who benefit most are the ones accessing it. And so you can go to the next slide. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, when we think about community eligibility provision schools where students will have to apply if they're not directly certified, especially looking at like Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, certain urban communities, we really see that a lot of those families may be immigrants, refugees, new American, where that they might not access SNAP or Medicaid, but they might attend Columbus City schools, for example, and therefore will have to apply. So therefore, they really need the outreach to understand that they are eligible for this program. And I think one thing in working with community around things like child tax credit and PEBT is understanding that the public charge rule, which refers to anyone who might become a dependent on the U.S. government, and it can affect your immigration status and causes a lot of fear around public benefits in certain communities. That is not a part of summer EBT or Sunbucks. Therefore, any student in the Columbus City schools who meets the 185% federal poverty level eligibility would be eligible for this program. And so we really need to think about how we reach those communities who may not learn about it elsewhere. So here are just some questions that I think it's really important that I'm going to emphasize the answer to. But so will receiving summer EBT or Sunbucks affect children or families' immigration status? The answer is no. Receiving summer EBT will not affect children or families' immigration status. And will my child or I be considered a public charge if I apply for to receive summer EBT? And the answer is no. So with that in mind, I want to think about outreach strategies that all of you, we need everyone on this webinar to deploy to really get the word out about these benefits. So there are formal and informal channels, as we all know. So flyers, it's really important that we have those translated. But I want to make a note that sometimes we think that translating a flyer is going to reach everyone. Well, there are literacy barriers. So someone may understand Nepali, for example, but may not be able to read it. So it's important that we think about messages, video messages. So again, text messages in multiple languages is a really good way to get outreach. Robocalls from schools or from community partners. Things like this webinar, I think, is helping create a network that then trickles this information down into communities. The USDA has some great state resources. I know that we will be sending out some follow-up, so we will send that website, including some translated materials. Social media is really a great way. partnerships, again, with community-based organizations. And if any of you, I know CDF, sometimes we deploy small micro grants to do outreach on on programs that are, newly on the scene. So that's something we're thinking about doing in this space, so that they have the time and resources to do some comprehensive outreach. And then thinking about different, we think text messaging, but there's also other platforms that can reach the immigrant, new American refugee populations and other people, like using WhatsApp, Telegram, Viber, for example. Also, we've seen in the child tax credit sphere, when we were getting the word out about that, using grocery stores and communities to hand out flyers or have conversation. That's also a really good way of doing outreach. So I just think it's important for us to be creative here, to make sure, again, that we're fully effectuating this program as intended. I'm going to just show you on the next a little clip of a partner of ours, ETSS. They're amazing. They really help us with this outreach and creating those partnerships in community. This is an example of like a communication they send over WhatsApp, Facebook, all over, just to get the word out. So I just want to show it here.
नमस्ते, मेरो नाम लक्ष्मी दाहाल हो र म ETSS मा एम कोचको रूपमा काम गर्छु। यो कोभिड-19 को बेलामा तपाई हामी सबैले कोभिड-19 को प्रचार रोक्न
Okay, Sarah, that's good. So that was a message about getting vaccinated for during COVID-19, but they do a lot of sort of, that's again emphasizing the importance of working in partnership with community-based organizations across the state and different communities, because they are able to reach their networks in new and creative ways, and doing videos, like I said, can be really effective. You can go to the next slide. I just wanted to give, I think it's always helpful to have a real life example of what this looks like and the difference it can make for a family. So this is an example. The family is based on our American Rescue Plan Act child tax credit outreach, but in the Columbus community, we had a family of 6. The parents were not US citizens, but the 4 children were born in the United States. They attended Columbus City schools, and the family made around $60,000 per year. So that's about 150% of the federal poverty level. So in this case, they would be eligible for Summer EBT. They were not on any public benefits because of fear of public charge. So they did not receive SNAP or Medicaid or anything like that. And they found out about the CTC through just a WhatsApp message that was deployed. And so in this scenario, just sending that simple WhatsApp message could result in $480 for that family for summer groceries, which is really significant. And then if you think about what Michelle just said with the produce perks, really that could be double, essentially. So it's really significant. And I just thank you all for if you're here, it means you want to do that outreach, and I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Katherine. All right, next up we have Joree Novotny and Lane-Gavin from the Ohio Association of Foodbanks to tell us more about food access over the summer. Joree.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everyone who's presented so far. I know we have a lot of good questions that we've tried to answer in the chat, but that I hope will be voiced over if they haven't already in our slides and in the Q&A that we'll have time for today. So thank you for being so invested and hanging with us while we continue to talk about this program and broader need among Ohio households. So my name is Joree Novotny. I serve as Executive Director here at the Ohio Association of Foodbanks, and my colleague Lane-Gavin is with us as well. She serves as our Director of Nutrition Policy and Programs. I just want to start really by briefly painting the broader picture of where we stand as a state and as a country in terms of access to federal nutrition programs, and really why a record number of families with kids, and frankly households of every kind throughout Ohio, are facing food insecurity at rapidly rising levels and are seeking help at historic rates. You know, a lot of help specifically designed to prevent hunger and reduce food insecurity over the past several years has now ended. Over the past 12 months, for example, Ohio households received roughly $1.5 billion less in federally funded SNAP benefits than they had in the previous 12 months. Next slide, Sarah. So you can see just here as an example, the drastic impact that reduction in SNAP benefits alone has had for household grocery budgets over the past year. Next slide. Ohio families with kids have also received help with affording food the past 3 summers through the pandemic EBT program, which was incredibly successful here in Ohio, thanks in large part to our incredible state agency partners. So thank you for those of you who are with us today and for others who have been part of that success. And these pandemic EBT benefits were equal to the summer EBT benefits that we're talking about today, or greater than in terms of value per child, the summer EBT benefits that will now be available permanently beginning this summer. And more kids were eligible for them, as we've talked about before. And, when Dr. Heyer started her slides, she talked about how PEBT worked and how a lot of our community eligibility schools, all of our community eligibility schools were able to enroll all of their students. We also had kids under 6 who participate in SNAP and live in SNAP participating households who were, for a couple of those summers, able to receive pandemic EBT benefits as well. And that's in addition to the drop in access to non-congregate meals that Michelle highlighted earlier, as well as the end of those federal advanced expanded child tax credit payments that Katherine was just talking about, which made an immediate positive impact on food security for families with kids when those were available in the latter half of 2021. There are also many families with children and other households, without children as well, that earn slightly too much to qualify for help from programs like SNAP and from programs, from other nutrition programs, but that are still struggling to make ends meet, of course. So for those families and for families with lower incomes that have seen their SNAP benefits decrease while the cost of groceries remain inflated, Ohio's food banks and our statewide hunger relief network are one of the only places that they have to turn for help. And unfortunately, the one-time emergency investments that were made in federal commodities programs that helped us fill those gaps are ending. And we don't have a positive outlook for a strong farm bill at the federal level. And we will lose funding from USDA to support Ohio's extremely successful local food purchase assistance program if Congress doesn't act. So all of that means that we won't have anywhere near the amount of food we've had available to respond to widening gaps in access to nutrition. And additionally, we've had the extraordinary help of one-time American Rescue Plan Act funding that was invested in Ohio's food banks by the state of Ohio. And all of those one-time investments have already been expended to respond to heightened and historic need. Next slide. So what does that mean for summer hunger, right? We continue across the state in our emergency hunger relief network to serve record numbers of people seeking help with food assistance. We serve families up to 200% of the federal poverty level. So of course we see a lot of working families, seniors, people with disabilities, and other households living on fixed incomes or modest earned incomes that have nowhere else to turn. And we see a lot of families with kids who are struggling with the reduction in all those benefits I talked about and really high prices for groceries. So that situation is only going to be intensified when school is out for the summer. Not only are traditional school meals not available, of course, but at the same time, households are also facing higher utility costs, right, to cool their homes during the warm Ohio summers, costs to provide childcare and enrichment for the young children while school is out. Next slide. So that's why it's so important that we help Summer EBT launch successfully and with the greatest impact possible this summer. And I just want to reiterate for those of you who are like, this is so confusing, I'm not sure how I'm going to direct which kids where. There's a lot of different ins and outs about different doorways for kids and families to access this program. We hear you. This is kind of unfortunately the way that Congress tends to roll out nutrition programs. So I don't think many of you are unfamiliar with complexities in administration of nutrition programs, but we're going to partner together to make sure that we get good and helpful information across. So I just want to state first and foremost, if you leave here without having all of your questions answered, the really good thing is that we're going to be partnering, continue to partner across Advocates for Ohio's Future with many statewide organizations, including those that you've heard from today, as well as in partnership with our state agencies to make really accessible materials and information available to you as partners and to families across Ohio. A key part of our success will be ensuring that families that do need to apply know that they should apply, and that families that do not need to apply don't apply anyway, just to be safe and clog up the system. We don't want to weigh the system down with a lot of unnecessary applications, because ultimately the good thing is that a lot of children still will be automatically enrolled in summer EBT. So obviously there are a lot of different household scenarios. Katherine highlighted one to share kind of the benefit that this will ultimately have for families. I know we won't be able to address all of them on this webinar, but I'm going to turn the next slide over to Hope to talk through just a few examples of families in different situations who may or may not need to apply.
Thanks, Joree. Yeah, I know that my colleague Katherine Ungar with Children's Defense Fund kind of went through this when it came to some immigrant, refugee, migrant families, but just wanted to help out with some other families and give some examples. So child A lives in a family that participates in traditional SNAP. So that means their family has an Ohio Direction card, right? So they would receive their summer EBT benefits on their Ohio Direction card automatically without having to apply or call or do anything else to them. Child B is covered by Medicaid. However, their family's income when they enrolled in Medicaid was 197% of the federal poverty level. Friendly reminder that here in Ohio, children under the age of 18 can access Medicaid up to 206% of the federal poverty level. So this family, their income would allow them to, again, continue accessing Medicaid, but they would not automatically receive summer EBT benefit. They may still be eligible for summer EBT if their income has changed since they initially applied for Medicaid. And then child C in this would receive, child C receives free school meals in a district where all students receive free school meals. So think Columbus Public Schools, think Cleveland Metropolitan Public Schools, think Akron Public Schools, Dayton Public Schools, etc. I know that we've been utilizing Columbus Public as an example throughout this webinar, but this benefit, friendly reminder, is estimated to reach about 870,000 Ohio school children. So again, not exclusive to Columbus Public Schools. It's just the biggest, our state's biggest CEP district, and it's easy for us Columbus-ites to point to Columbus Public Schools. But okay, so child C again receives free school meals in a district like Columbus, where all students receive free school meals. Their family's income is at 155% of the federal poverty level. They are not currently enrolled in Medicaid coverage. So they are eligible for summer EBT benefits, but they will need to apply. So again, 185% of the federal poverty level is required in all cases to access summer EBT. I hope that helps, but again, I am here. I'm answering questions live in the chat, so please keep them coming. I'll turn it back to Joree.
Thank you, Hope. And just to reiterate, that's not all inclusive of every situation that families will find themselves in. Just to give you an idea of some of the simplified FAQs that we're going to be including as your partners. And when I say we, I mean Advocates for Ohio's Future, in partnership with the variety of community-based organizations and providers that you're hearing from on this call and others, to work together to make sure you have access to spread the word and that community members have access as well. So we have ohiosummerebt.org. This is designed to complement and supplement what the state of Ohio is already working on, right? So not a replacement, designed to complement and supplement and provide additional clarifying information, especially for the kids that we really need to focus on targeting, which are those that are not going to be automatically enrolled through direct certification or through categorical eligibility, as Dr. Hires talked about. So we will be launching ohiosummerebt.org in just a few days. If you go and visit it, you're going to see it's online already, but it's not ready for you to look at. So please give us a few days as good partners for us to get that fully ready. And part of the reason for that is that we really want to use your good questions today and your input and guidance and advice to help build the frequently asked questions page on that site, helpful information about materials to conduct outreach and education with families and partners. So please, in the chat, drop in suggestions that you have We are planning on having flyers translated into multiple languages, social media toolkits translated into multiple languages with social graphics to correspond with them. We'll probably have similar tools that we had available for the pandemic EBT program, like for example, a robocall message you could put up on your, I think a script for a recording you could put up on, a call center wait a whole time so folks could get some more information about it, a banner for your website, some other resources. If you have other suggestions, please, please, please share. Because we're going to start advertising that very soon. And of course, ultimately the goal is to help triage families to prevent unnecessary applications while encouraging applications from all eligible kids who won't automatically be enrolled, and then to answer as many questions along the way in that process, in an accessible way. Next slide. So we know that this is complicated. This is a draft flyer you can check out. We'll have plenty of things like this available. And we know that there's many different ways that students can gain access to the benefit. So while it is really confusing to try to digest all of this at once about which doors students can enter, what's ultimately great about this is that Ohio is looking for every way it can automatically certify kids to participate to reduce the paperwork burden. The first couple summers of this is going to be more confusing for new families, the launch of a new program. So let's just work together to keep educating and get families familiar. So we're going to have lots more detailed information about those pathways available soon on that website. And again, these are going to complement the work that Dr. Hires and the Department of Education and Workforce are taking on, as well as the Job and Family Services team and Laura on launching this program. And then ultimately it will direct students who do need to apply to the application on the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce site. Next slide. Much of the way that Summer EBT works once families receive the benefits, right? Once they receive the benefits, is similar to shopping with SNAP. So it's almost exactly like shopping with SNAP, but there are some exceptions to that. One is that, as we talked about earlier, there's a shorter window of time for spending the benefits because they're intended for use during the summer. So that is different from SNAP. And then another difference we're going to get to in a second, but for shopping with Summer EBT benefits, works really similar. So Michelle already highlighted this just to point out again, there is online shopping that's become more widely available thanks to work during the pandemic to accelerate that accessibility. So like on the left here, you have a flyer that we already have available and will be available on the Summer EBT website, and other ways that SNAP can help, that you can use SNAP and Summer EBT to maximize resources for your family. Next slide. We're also asking you to help spread the word to protect consumers who might be vulnerable to organized theft. So I'm just going to spend a minute on this issue on the left. You're probably familiar, although you may not be, that we've had, unfortunately, across the country, including here in Ohio, widespread instances of organized theft and organized crime that ultimately are impacting our EBT customers. So unfortunately, EBT cards, like the Ohio Direction card where SNAP benefits are loaded, and like the Summer EBT card, are not as secure as chip-enabled debit and credit cards. And of course, we're advocating along with many partners that Congress address that issue in the Farm Bill. Really, we need to mandate chip-enabled parity for EBT card vendors, and then we need to pay for that. The feds need to pay for that and give an appropriation to the state to make sure that they can make that transition. In the meantime, though, benefits are still too often being stolen through the use of card skimming devices at point of sale. And unfortunately, Summer EBT benefits will not be replaced if they are stolen. Even more broadly, a temporary measure to guarantee replacement benefits for stolen SNAP expires September 30th of this year. Congress has to act to pass a permanent guarantee of replacement benefits, whether in the Farm Bill or through another measure. Otherwise, we'll see the ability to replace benefits for SNAP overall end. So if you do have SNAP customers that are looking to seek replacement benefits, that needs to be requested through JFS Form 07011. We have SNAP outreach assisters at Ohio's Foodbanks that can help victims of theft with completing that form, and our partners at Legal Aid can assist with navigating the replacement process. But specifically when it comes to Summer EBT, because those benefits won't be eligible for replacement, we really want to make sure we're also educating folks about how to protect their benefits. And one way to prevent theft is for customers to lock their cards each time they're not using them. So on the right, you'll see we have a flyer that explains how to lock and unlock an EBT card. And that functionality should also work for Summer EBT. And while it's really unfair that EBT users are faced with this issue when they're already struggling to meet their basic needs, I know that we can work together to help prevent organized criminals from stealing their food benefits, and making that a piece of our outreach and conversation with families and households. So like these are other examples that will be available with more materials for educating and outreaching to families on the Summer EBT website. So that concludes my slides. I just want to say we look forward to working with this community of advocates, providers, public officials, and other stakeholders to spread the word about this program, and to more broadly partner together on additional investments in programs that help prevent hunger and promote nutrition and well-being for all of Ohio households and families. So thank you. Hang with us and let's make this a success for Ohio so that we can see a lot of families have their burdens eased a little bit this summer.
Great, thank you so much. We have a handful of questions, some of which we have answered in the Q&A box, but that I want to pull out and make sure that we're able to talk about here live. So first, let's dive into sort of the details of when benefits can be replaced and how that happens. So there is a question in the chat that might go to Laura and Brigette and Joree about if the assistance group does suffer a misfortune, the benefits can be replaced, but where will that be through? Is that through the customer service number on the card, or is it through the county job and family services agency?
So the number on the card is really just for any issues that are happening with the card. So for replacement of benefits, they would follow with the, as Joree just mentioned, with completing the typical process of filling out the form. But the number on the actual card is really just in regards to, you know, getting the account balance, ordering a replacement card, things of that nature.
Perfect. So that should always go through the county job and family services agency,
Yes.
correct?
Yep, just
Great.
like normal. Yep, just like for SNAP benefits.
Perfect. There was a question earlier in the webinar that I would love to pull out and answer live about schools who participate in the National School Lunch Program. Is that only public schools, and how can you find out if your school is participating? Brigette, are you able to
Yes,
answer?
absolutely. I'd be happy to. So you can find out if your school is participating if you go to the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce webpage, which is education.ohio.gov, and maybe somebody can drop that into the chat. And when you get there, then in the search box, if you search free and reduced, it takes you to a data page. The Ohio Department of Education and Workforce, actually on an annual basis, we are required to post a comprehensive list of all schools on the National School Lunch Program. And so you can find the official list there. And within that list, it might look daunting, but you can do a control find or maybe sort for alphabetically and then look for your school. And that list actually will also tell you if your school is on the community eligibility provision, which we kind of talked about has a little bit different rules this year of who can qualify and who might need to use the state application, or if your school is what's considered a traditional school. And that simply means that your school collects those free and reduced price school meal applications, either electronically or the traditional paper applications. So that will give you a little bit more information about schools if people from the public are asking you, or if you're interested in your own school. And there's all kinds of schools that are on the National School Lunch Program. We actually, a fun fact, there's about 3,800 schools across the state of Ohio that participate in the National School Lunch Program. And that could be public schools, like Hope had mentioned several, all of our large districts in our large cities are on, and I think actually every single public school district minus like one, which is a very small public school district up in the Toledo area. So you can almost be assured if your child goes to a public school district, then that school is on the National School Lunch Program. And we also have non-public schools. We have many non-public schools on the program and community schools on the program as well. So you can get that comprehensive list there. Now, also your school or your local schools, generally speaking, have a web page that talks about or goes to food service. And that page will indicate if they're on the National School Lunch Program too, if you wanted further information.
Thank you. That is so helpful. And I think this next question will also be for you, Brigette. There are a couple questions in the Q&A about automatically enrolled is not actually automatic because schools still have to send information. So can you clarify who it's automatic for? And is this a requirement that schools send in this data, or is this a suggestion? And will this be a requirement that we can make sure that that streamline happens?
Oh, sure. Sarah, I don't know if you can bring up, I think it was like slide 4 and it had the diagram of the different groups. If we could bring that up, that would be great. So, so what's going to happen is, as part of this process, the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services, we actually have contracted with a computer software company that is going to collect this information. So they're going to collect that full list of children from Ohio Job and Family Services for SNAP and OWF. They're going to collect the list from Medicaid or Medicaid recipients. And then schools are going to share their free and reduced price meal certified student list with this company as well. So we do need schools to partner with us to provide this information. So it is a first year program. The regulations do not say the word require, but we're certainly hoping all of our schools that are on the National School Lunch Program will partner with us and provide the information. And when we were doing the PEBT program, we had like 99.9%, success rate with schools providing the information. And usually it was just technical glitches of, where schools weren't able to provide the information or not right away for the first wave of the benefit. But it will require schools to partner with us. And if we have any of our school partners on this webinar right now, I assure you that we are putting together a date and a time that we're going to have a sub-webinar to talk about schools and sharing data and walk you through the process. And we're trying to make it as streamlined as possible so that, we have all of our schools that are participating in sending the information.
Thank you so much. Another question we have that I think is good for Laura to answer is, how can a family tell how much time they have left in their 122 days? Is that a hotline question? Is there a way that they can see that online? Where should they go?
So it will be included in the envelope when they receive the card. They'll know the date that they were approved and then that it is available for 122 days. We are working on the language for that to make sure that it is very clear. But we don't have set up a mechanism to say you have 67 days left or anything of that nature, unfortunately. Like I said, in the information that will be in that envelope, it'll be very clear regarding, this is the approval date, and then this is the benefit issuance date, and then the 122 days.
Great, very helpful. For SNAP customers, Laura, will they also get a notice saying when they were approved so that they will know that count of days, since they're not going to receive a separate envelope with the Summer EBT card?
Bridget, I'm going to ask for some backup on this one. I believe they still receive an approval notice. So they will have that date to know when the clock will start ticking. But as I mentioned earlier, Sarah, I just want to clarify that for those who already have the Ohio Direction Card with SNAP, the system is set up so that way the Summer EBT benefits are going to be prioritized and spent prior or before the SNAP benefits, just so that way, because the expiration date is a shorter time period. And so that way the Summer EBT benefits will be used before the SNAP benefits.
That is very helpful. Thank you so much. One quick question for Brigette that came through in the Q&A about an appeals process. If someone does not receive that Summer EBT benefit, but they feel they're income eligible, what's their next step?
Oh, sure. So it's going to depend on where the household filed the application with. So if the household filed the free and reduced price meal application with their school and they were denied free and reduced price meals, which would impact Summer EBT as well, then each school on the National School Lunch Program must have an appeals process. So that household can reach out to the school and ask for the appeals process so that they can appeal. If they have filled out the statewide Summer EBT application and are denied based on income or information, then at that time, when they receive the denial, they will be provided the appeals process and have that information to follow.
Great, that's very helpful. I know that we've talked about reaching out to everyone who's eligible for these benefits, including Ohioans who are refugees, who are immigrants, whose first language is not English. So can you share a little bit of a refresher on what translations will be available of the resources? I know that Joree shared that a lot of the Ohio Association of Foodbanks resources are going to be translated. What does that look like for resources to share with our Ohio populations?
Sure, I can share. So one thing that I will say is that we are furiously working on all of this information, right? It's a brand new program. We might not have all of the translations available right away, but our full intention is for the we're going to have 2 letters that schools can send home to households. One to tell them they've been confirmed eligible because they're free or reduced price meal certified or approved for free or reduced price meals. That particular letter is going to be translated into 5 languages, which I'm doing off the cuff, and we'll see if I remember them all. Are going to be Arabic, Somali, Chinese, Russian, and Spanish, I believe it is, at least to get us started. And then the other letter is going to be especially for our CEP and Provision 2 schools, to let them know households that have not been approved through the direct certification process that the statewide application exists and that is a possibility. It's going to be translated in the same languages. We also have connections to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, has several pieces of outreach material that they have already translated. So when we get our webpage up and running, we're going to have links to that as well. And then we are going to kind of be filling in translations as we go through the summertime. Laura, do you want to speak to translations for your part? I believe the plan is for the slips that go with the cards. Maybe there's a plan for translation material.
Yes, so the mailer that will be in the card, we are also looking at the translation for that as well. So that way when families receive the envelope, they are we'll have the translation available. I don't know the details as of yet, but we are working on that as well to accommodate.
Thank you so much. Great. And I see also an answer from Katherine in the chat on that. We've gotten a handful of questions in the Q&A box throughout the webinar about if families are still holding on to their PEBT card from last year, will those benefits kind of roll over to the Summer EBT program, and what should they do with that old PEBT card?
Laura, do you want to grab that one, or you want me to take that one?
Sorry, I couldn't, my mouse froze, so couldn't get unmuted. But yeah, so their PEBT card, I would ensure that there is not a balance on it, and then that program is ending. So that's because Summer EBT is a brand new program. They will be receiving a new card if they currently don't receive SNAP benefits, and no funds for Summer EBT will be on the PEBT. So I would follow the steps to ensure that there's no balance remaining. But then at this time, the funds going forward for Summer EBT will be on the new card. So the old PEBT card would not be necessary.
Okay. Great. I think that we have covered the biggest questions, and you all were typing very furiously throughout the webinar, answering all those questions. Thank you so much to all of our panelists for your incredible presentations and taking the time to be on this webinar and sharing all of this information. This is an exciting new program that I am so proud to be able to be on a webinar alongside all of you to talk about. As I said in the chat at the beginning, this webinar recording, these slides, and the many resources that all of our panelists have talked about will be sent out in a follow-up email to everyone who registered for the webinar. If we didn't get to your question, we will try to include that in a follow-up as well. And thank you so much for joining. And we hope that you will stay in touch and follow all of the Summer EBT updates from all of the organizations online, and have a great Wednesday.